All right, Unit 9, Lecture 1E, I'm guessing, okay? We were just talking about the Manhattan Project, the atomic bomb. This war in the Pacific, we see how horrible it's going to be. The casualties are going to be super high. And early on, the U.S. had developed the Manhattan Project, okay, under the leadership of Dr. Robert Oppenheimer. This is a super secret deal in Los Alamos, New Mexico, in order to develop the atomic bomb, okay? See if you can find Oppenheimer's famous quote. I'm a big fan of it, and let me know some about where it comes from, okay? Extra credit on your next quiz. Harry S. Truman, who became president when FDR died, is going to decide to drop the atomic bomb on Japan. All right, and this is going to be in order to save many American lives. All right, there were estimates that it would cost almost 1 million American lives to invade Japan itself. All right, so in order to preserve American lives and possibly demonstrate to the Soviet Union what we had, Truman's going to order the use of atomic bombs on Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki in an effort to force the Japanese to surrender. So VJ Day, Victory in Japan Day, is going to be September 2nd, 1945. Tens of thousands of people are going to die instantly in both cities. I think 45,000 immediately in Hiroshima and 70-some-odd thousand in Nagasaki. I might have them backwards. All right, so shortly after they drop the atomic bombs, Japan surrenders. Okay. I want to take a shift now and look at some of the participation in the war, some of the other aspects of the war. All right. So World War II is going to solidify the United States as a global power. It also ushers in social changes, all right, and establish reform agendas that will preoccupy public discussion in the U.S. for the remainder of the 20th century. When men left the factories to serve in the armed forces during World War II, women are going to enter into those previous male roles, okay? And like never before, when the war ends, they're not going to want to go back. They're going to want education, so they're going to want jobs, all right? African Americans at this time are going to struggle to obtain desegregation of the armed forces and end racial discriminatory policies, hiring policies at home. So throughout World War II, the United States Armed Forces generally required African Americans to serve in segregated military units, separate military units, okay, and often assigned them to non-combat roles. African Americans demand the right to serve in combat rather than support roles, and a couple examples of these I want you to know are the Tuskegee Airmen. All right, you should remember the word Tuskegee. You should be familiar with it. Group of African American flyers, and a lot of you have probably seen the movie Red Tails. All right, and these guys are going to serve with a great deal of distinction in Europe. Other minority units that contribute to the war effort are going to be the Nisei, N-I-S-E-I. They're Japanese-American units. They're going to earn a high number of decorations. As a matter of fact, one of those units are the most highly decorated in World War II. All right. And another group we're going to see play a huge role is the Navajo, American Indians. They'll be code talkers. All right, the Navajo do not have a written language. It's a spoken language. So if you take 2 Navajo Indians and put one on each end of a radio, you have an unbreakable code. All right, well, it's unbreakable as long as we don't lose a Navajo to the Japanese, okay? So they're going to play a huge role. Mexican Americans do not have to serve in segregated units. They'll serve in regular units during World War II. All right, and minorities are going to suffer a lot of casualties, high casualties, and they're going to earn a great deal of citations and commendations and medals for bravery in action. Okay, I want to talk now about Geneva Convention, treatment of war prisoners during World War II. All right, this is an iconic photograph right here of the news when the war ends. Okay, let's just see. Geneva Convention. The manner in which a nation conducts war often depends upon its social and moral codes. The treatment of prisoners of war often reflects the savage nature of the military conflict and the cultural norms of the nations involved. The Geneva Convention was one of a series of international agreements first made in Geneva, Switzerland in 1864. I want you to know Geneva Convention, which established rules for the humane treatment of prisoners of war and of the sick, wounded, and dead in battle. The Geneva Convention tried to ensure the humane treatment of prisoners of war by establishing rules to be followed by all nations. During World War II, the treatment of prisoners varied greatly, and I picked this up in just a second.